All right, we're live finally. All right. Hey, it's Rhiannon coming to you live from Winter Garden, Florida with my new best friend and co-author, Amber DeLoof, who's amazing. And I'm super excited because we have a mutual friend that really actually connected us. Like, the book didn't really connect us.
No.
But our friend connected us. And so now we've been talking for like ever, and I love it. So, so we're here tonight to chat a little bit about building a business while pandemic parenting. And we're veterans. You just use that word, and it's so weird to me. Hashtag old. But we're excited because we are both moms. We're both homeschool moms. And I know that the friend that connected us together was just like, you guys are the same. You need to be friends. And she just was like, be friends, be friends. And so here we are. We're friends.
It just happened.
Yep, it did. It just happened. Like attracts like. And we have a lot of things in common. Both moms, both homeschooling, both kids with health issues. And I know for me as a parent, going through before pandemic parenting, right? Parenting's just hard. Hey, Teresa. So parenting is just hard overall, and add a chronically sick child or a child with medical needs or any of that into the mix. It just makes it 1,000 times more stressful.
Sorry.
No,
I was
you're
trying to open to see. I can't see the chat on because I'm on my
Yeah.
phone. So I was like,
You're fine. I was like, ooh, that's me. What's
that's
happening?
you. Just don't hear. Don't listen to that. It's
Just
fine.
mute.
I'm
Just
just,
mute.
there we go.
Perfect. All right. So anyways, we were talking a little bit about how, it with Emma's health and before the pandemic, parenting a child with health issues was stressful. And now it's crazy stressful because you second guess everything. You have chronic decision fatigue. Am I making the right choice for my family? Am I making the right choice for my kids? Should I leave the house? Should I stay home? Should I all these things, right?
Yep.
And so we share that commonality with the, oh my gosh, really exhaustion of decision making.
It's parenting is hard enough, right? Without the pandemic.
Yeah, exactly. So now we're in this phase that we both have these children with health issues and needs, and we're both in that same stress, oh my gosh, right? But we're also in a phase in our lives that we're building businesses with babies at home, homeschooling, and trying to juggle 95 things at one time. So
At least.
yeah, right. I feel like the mom with 8 arms, like the octopus mom, right?
Listen, I can't speak for anyone watching, but I'm either juggling 87 things at once or I'm juggling 0.
One extreme or the other.
It's either all 87 are going or I am in front of my Netflix and I'm talking to no human. So there's no happy medium for me. I can't speak for you, but there's no happy medium for me.
It's on all the time until the kids go to bed for moms.
Fair enough.
Absolutely. Awesome. So Amber, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself a little bit and just share your experience and all the things?
I do. Okay. I was just checking my thing there. All right. So yay. I'm excited. So I will say the first message Rhiannon and I first we exchanged sarcasm in a 6-figure earners group. Sarcasm is my love language. I speak it fluently. And she's like, you know what? We have a mutual friend who said we should be friends. And my first, I think, message to her, or within the first 5 minutes, was, how in the hell do you say your name? Because I don't want to call you Rhiannon or anything else that's wrong. So please tell me. So, if you guys were wondering, it is Rhiannon. And my name's Amber. I have been in this industry since 2009, but I have been a mom since 2011. So, we were talking a little bit about we were like, what the hell? Oh, sorry for your crew who doesn't like cursing. What the heck do we talk about? And I was like, man, so earlier, and I don't know if Rhiannon shared this on her wall or not, but she sent me a picture of when she earned her first free car in this industry 13 years ago, and she doesn't want to be called a veteran, right? And I was like, 13 years ago, I was like, man, I started in 2009, which was only a year later. It turns out our birthdays, by the way, I don't know if you know this or not, but just because your birthday is Christmas, our birthdays are exactly 6 months apart because June 26th is exactly 6 months to Christmas. So our birthdays are exactly 6 months apart.
You're my half birthday.
There it is. I'm your half birthday. We're the same age. And I was like, you know, man, it was different building a business in 2009, and not because it was 2009, but because I was newly married. I had 0 babies, right? We were double incomes. We didn't have any kids, and it was just a different phase of life. And, you know, Rhiannon and I were talking today, and I was like, I'm in a different season right now, right? Like my kids, I have a 6, 7, and 10-year-old. She has more experience homeschooling. I consider her more of a homeschooling veteran. I am a homeschool newbie. We started out as being pandemic homeschoolers where we hated virtual learning. So we pulled all 3 of our kids out, including my kindergartner, which I don't know if you guys have ever taught a child to read from scratch.
It's awful.
It makes me want to go back to a 9-to-5 job some days.
I relate. Yes.
It's like, it's a new level of hard in my life. And so I've been in the industry since 2009. I started in a party plan. I got started because, I was jealous of the people who said they live paycheck to paycheck, because I was living paycheck to 3 days before a paycheck. And I got started in the industry because the woman told me she paid cash for Christmas and cash for vacations. And I thought, I don't even pay cash for groceries. Like, we weren't paying cash for even our groceries. I was swiping a credit card and hoping it would work. And so, as it turns out, Rhiannon and I kind of unknowingly crossed paths somewhere in a same company that I was in from 2012 until 2016. And so I've been in this industry for 12 years. I am a veteran. I'm very old. I don't do any kind of income claiming. However, my husband has been home with us full time since 2014. And I mean, if you want the personal ad, I read a lot. And I like to camp. I like to sleep in my camper more than I sleep in my home 6 months out of the year. And there you go. And we are homeschoolers. My youngest is from China. She's been home for 4 years now. So I'm an adoptive mom. I'm a special needs mom. I'm the mom of a 7-year-old that will be the death of me. And we homeschool. So in case I didn't have enough crazy going on, we homeschooled. And so we're building a business now. You know, I run a team that does 8 figures a year, and I homeschool 3 kids. And so we're building a different lifestyle these days. So there you go. That's a little bit about me. I mean, mostly I'm just sarcasm and fun and
chaos and cuss words.
A little bit of work. So
chaos and cuss words too, right?
Oh, and you know what's funny is I shared this in my stories the other day. Like, I'm definitely chaos and cuss words and funny. And if anyone ever wonders where I get my sarcasm, my mom gave me this cup. Guys, this thing is backwards, so I keep going the wrong way. It says, OMG, my mother was right about everything. She thought that I needed that in my life. So that sums me up. So
it's too funny. Heather, as soon as you popped on, I knew that you would relate to Amber, because I know you love camping just as much as she does.
Okay, so Heather, I can't see your comments, but do you camp or do you glamp? Because every time someone laughs at me and they're like, you camp? I'm like, oh, no.
She's a glamper too.
Okay. I was going to say, we have a fifth wheel with like 2. I told someone the other day, I was like, because we're moving to North Carolina, we're going to build. And I was like, I just told my husband, like, let's sell everything. Like, let's sell everything and live in the camper. And my realtor was like, that sounds terrible. I'm like, the camper is 2 bedrooms, 1.5 bath. Like, I think we could manage. It's not really a camper. So, you know, if you know, you know. So I guess Heather knows. So anyway.
She does know. She loves it. That's her dream, is to travel in her
Same.
camper. Yep. So awesome. Very cool. So a little bit about me, since I didn't really go into that for anybody that's new or just checking us out for the first time. So I have been in network marketing. I guess I'm a dinosaur, if you want to call me a veteran. Dinosaur.
Look, not everyone makes it that many years, right? So
touche.
high five to us.
High fives. Yes. So, which way do we go? Oh, right, like this.
Right, like.
Oh, your other way.
It's guys, if you understood, if you're watching this, it's mirrored and we're backwards. And like I got this hair that's bothering me, but it's so backwards that I can't find it. So we're
going
this
with
way.
It. Right
there we go.
Right there, kind of there. There we go. All right. So at any rate, I am a dinosaur. I've been in this industry for a long time, off and on. I have been in several different companies. And I've learned something every single time, have hit the top 1% in several companies, earned cars, trips, all the things, right, that come with that. So cruises, were you on those cruises when we were in that company?
I went on one. Actually, so funny story. We probably did cross. If you went on the first one, were you on the first one?
I was on both, yes.
Okay, so I went on the first one. And that is actually where I met a girl at one of our top earner things. It was like a brunch, and they were adopting from China, and I won't use her name. You actually probably know who it is. And she was adopting from China, and they were telling us, and I didn't want to have any more babies. I didn't want to carry any more babies. And so my husband and I followed their journey when we came home, and 4 months later started our journey to adopting Maylee. So we missed the second cruise because I had actually been home for only a week from getting Maylee. So that cruise like forever changed my life. So yes, I was on those cruises.
Very cool. Yeah. We never even knew it. Like
no clue.
It's too funny. The industry is so small.
It is.
But so at any rate, I'm a former teacher. Obviously a homeschool mom as mentioned. But really for us, like we talked about this, like when my daughter was younger, she was chronically sick all the time. Didn't know what was wrong with her. We noticed she was about 2 weeks old when we really started noticing there was something wrong with her. And no one really knew what it was and nobody could tell us. And we just noticed she was very fussy, was crying a lot. And so we started like digging down the rabbit hole of trying to solve the problem of figuring out what was wrong with her. And then she had bacterial pneumonia when she was 3 months old. And we couldn't figure out why. Like she was just sick all the time. And my family was like, why is your kid so sick all the time? Like it's my fault or something. And I'm like, I don't know. Like I can't fix it. I don't know why she's so sick all the time. And at that point I was teaching. I had left a high school teaching science position for my quote unquote dream job. You know, if those things are out there, like working for somebody else is my dream job. Took a pay cut, took like no benefits, had to do school on top of it to get certifications for Montessori. And long story short, I only had 4 sick days. Well, when you have a chronically sick kid, 4 sick days are gone very quickly. So I remember sitting in the office at one point talking to my boss who ran the school, and she was just like, this is just not working out for us. And I was just like, do you really think this is working out for me? I'm up all night long with a screaming child, screaming bloody murder, like medical bills piling up. I'm hardly making any money. If I miss work, I don't make any money. So I had to have that mom guilt of, do I go to work and not make money, or do I go to work and make money, or do I stay at home where my daughter needs me and not make any money? Like, it was awful. It was terrible mom guilt that we were dealing with. And then I remember standing, because in Montessori, I don't know if anybody's familiar, but Montessori schools are usually in a house. So I was standing in the kitchen of the school, and I remember Jeff calling me, telling me about the surgery I had to miss for Emma's tubes being put in. And I felt like it was the lowest of the low. Like, I'm missing my kid's surgery to put food on the table. I should not have to be making that decision. Yep. And so that's when I really just took massive action. And then within a few months was able to piece out from that school and tell them to kiss my butt. So done some teaching stuff since then, but that company, I think we were both in for the same amount of time and like probably left around the same time.
Yeah. So I was May 2012 to December 2016.
So I was probably, I think September of 2012. Something like that. I'd have to go back and like think about it. But then I was there for 4 years too. So yeah.
I mean, I think what's funny about you sharing your story is in this industry, I think we all think our story is special, right? And that we like something is different. And what I'm learning really quickly is, what I've learned over time is that they're not special. It's not that we're not special, but like these stories, you know, I remember when I was in the party plan, and I don't know if you ever, well, you did.
Yeah.
So with the party plan, I was working 18 to 20 parties a month. I was in a company that involved alcohol when like the partiers were there. And so the parties would be 5 to 6 hours long. And I remember, right. And I would work 1 on Friday, 2 on Saturday at a 1 o'clock and a 7 o'clock slot, and then 2 on Sunday in the same slots, plus weeknight ones. And so, and when I didn't have kids, it was cool, right? Like it was fine. Right. But then when I had my son, I remember he was 6 weeks old, and in a party plan, it's kind of like that 9 to 5. If you don't do parties, you don't get paid. Yeah. And so we weren't getting paid. You know, I always make a joke, and it's not funny, but it is funny that to this day, my husband doesn't know where his golf clubs went. And it's true, because I sold everything that was not nailed down to keep our lights on and to pay our bills. And I remember my son was 6 weeks old, and I went to a party, and it's funny because he's 10 now. So like, this is not like, I remember this like it was yesterday. I'm driving home from a party. I'd been gone all day, and I'm pumping while I'm driving home, and I'm just crying because I'm like, I was sold on this residual income thing. Sorry, there's a bathroom attached to my office, and every time I go live, there's 5 bathrooms in this house, but they wait until I'm live to use this one.
Mine do it too. Mom life.
Every time. Hashtag mom life if you get us. So I remember crying and like pumping, and I got home and I was just like so upset because I told my husband, I'm like, I was sold this dream of residual income, and I had to leave my 6-week-old baby, and I'm pumping in a car. Like, this isn't what I signed up for. And so that's how I kind of found my way to the other company that we were in. But I just think like we all have these stories of like, dude, mom life is already hard, and having to make these other decisions are really hard. And, you know, when I got into this industry, I feel like the term was used more than it is now, but pyramid scheme, right? And I remember people like, you know, she joined a pyramid scheme, and I was like, I'm so glad you're not so desperate in your life that you're willing to try something that no one else is doing right now. But it was not because I was excited. It's because I had to. Like I was desperate to be able to be a part of my kids' lives and to be at home with my family. And so, you know, I mean, I'm not saying that I've always been super present, but I just think that I think most of us who are successful come into this industry out of absolute desperation, and that's why we're successful, because we have to be, right?
Really, so, there's no option. There's no plan B, and that's something I was kind of talking to Jeff about the other day. I said, you know, like way back in the day, right? Like there was no plan B. That I could not go get a second job to help offset the costs because he was working weekends at, you know, Costco retail, so that's. Retail on the weekends is like, that's mandatory. And I couldn't just leave kids at home and have another sitter. We were living in a house that was literally the money pit. I mean, every extra cent that we had went to fixing it because we bought a flip, and the flip was a flop. Yeah, that's always fun. But I mean, it's one of those things, and I talk about it in the book, which we'll go over in a second, but you either work for and operate from inspiration or desperation. And so many people come in and expect somebody else to motivate them when you have to be hungry enough to want to do it yourself. And, you know, especially right now with pandemic parenting, people are juggling so many things in the air. They're trying to work their job. They're trying to help their kids with, you know, distance learning or whatever you want to call it, virtual learning, wherever you are, you know, that pressure of moms in the workforce right now have dropped significantly because they're having to be at home with their kids. They're not able to go work again, like a traditional job, because they have to be home with their children because they don't have an option. So right now, this structure of network marketing is the side hustle for moms in pandemic parenting. It's the way that you can leverage your time to help other people leverage their time, and it just creates a ripple effect.
Yeah. You know, I remember like when everything went virtual, right? Like I think we all do, because it all happened real quick, nationwide, right?
Yeah.
And like now, I don't know where, like if you're on and you're watching, in the comments, like, are you virtual right now? Are you in person, or are you hybrid? Because I felt like I've got this whole, in our state, we are virtual, but some are now starting to go back in person, and then some are hybrid, and then some are still virtual. And I remember it being like, first everyone was like, our kids have to be in school. Well, first it was, we got to shut the schools down, right? Like that was the first, everyone was like, shut the schools down. Yep. And then it was like, virtual sucks. We got to get our kids back in school. And then, I can't speak for everyone's governor, but then our governor a few weeks ago made the announcement that we're going to try to get kids back in school. Then people were ticked because he was putting them back into school, even though they were mad that they weren't in school. And I'm over here like this, man, I sure am glad I homeschool.
Right.
Homeschool. And I told my husband, I said, but like some of these parents wanted their kids put back in school so they could go back to work. Yep. But then they put them on a hybrid schedule. And so you still can't figure out how to go back to work. And so it's been it's an unprecedented time. And like you said, the structure and the ability to work from home is never been better. But I'm glad we decided to talk pandemic parenting, because I also want to say this. You're doing a good job. Like, I don't care if you're homeschooling. I don't care if you're virtual schooling. I don't care if you're hybrid schooling. I don't care if you're trying to get your kids back in school. Like, you're doing a good job. Your kids are doing a good job. And if I could add to that, I would say your kids aren't falling behind. Like, I feel like we hit this thing and everyone got so hard on themselves. Like, I remember people, okay, and I don't know if you ever posted this or not. So if you did, I'm sorry. But I remember people putting this post up that was like, if you had a goal to lose weight and you've been quarantined for like 6 months, you don't have a time problem. You're not driven enough or whatever. Like, if you had a goal to do X, Y, and Z and you didn't have time, but now you're home and you've been home for 6 months and you haven't done it, it's a vision problem or it's a goal problem. And that ish is so toxic. Like, it is so toxic to tell them, like, we're trying to survive a pandemic right now. Like, people, even homeschoolers who homeschooled for years now can't go to the parks, right? They couldn't go to the zoo. They're stuck at home. Moms who've been working 9 to 5s their kids' whole lives are now stuck at home. Like, I just think it's such a toxic thing that we get into this mentality of like, well, now you have time. You could have built a business. Like, dude, you're surviving right now. And so, you know, we did a big Zoom with my friend John. We did this whole Zoom with moms, and like they were giving all these tips to be really productive. And he got to me and he was like, Amber, what's your biggest tip? And I was like, man, these girls are a bunch of badasses, but listen, if you don't give yourself grace, you're not going to build anything. And I feel like sometimes we hear people say, you've got to do this and you got to do this, and now you have more time, so you have no excuses. And I'm like, if nothing else, you should have learned like to slow down just a little bit, right? Like, I learned to slow down. I learned what it meant to be more present with my kids, right? I learned what it meant to be, oh God, more intentional with building my business in little pockets, because now I'm with these humans all the time. There is another kid in that bathroom. I don't even know what to do right now. Like, why?
Who else can hear it? You're good.
Why are you doing this to me? So, you know, I mean, I'm here to say, like, you can hustle, but like, I learned a lot in pandemic parenting. And one of the biggest things I learned was that I could work in small pockets of time. You know, I could homeschool my kids in the morning and do things in the afternoon. And then, you know what? There are times like tonight where we sat down and watched Back to the Future 1 and 2 tonight, and I didn't do anything, right? And the flushing, it's just my kids. And so you know, pandemic parenting is hard. Parenting, like, let's just take out pandemic, right? Parenting is freaking hard. Yeah. Building a business is hard. And here's my only rant, and then I'll let you say something. But if you're a woman watching this, building a business as a woman is hard. Okay. Because here's why. You know, my buddy John makes a ton of money, right? No one, and if he ever watches this, John, I love you. And I say this with love, but no one is ever going to tell John, how do you balance home and work? Don't you work too much so that your kids don't see you? Why do you need to make more money? Like if John showed up and said, dude, I want $500,000 a month, he would get high five. But if Rhiannon and I showed up to this same event and was like, dude, we want $100,000 a month, we would hear, how will you have time for your kids?
Yeah.
Do you really need that? Right. Do you need that much money? What would you even do with that money? And you know what? That mindset stopped me from making a lot of money in my time because I was like, I don't need that. I have a family. And so parent, not parent, woman, business owner, it's all hard. It's all hard. It's just surrounding yourself with other humans who get you. And oh my God, now it's a dog. And giving yourself grace. Look, the other dog got let out. I heard it because the other one was barking and my husband let one out. The other one wouldn't go out because it's cold. And now he's mad he's not outside. So there you go. So my point is, even in chaos, parenting is hard, man. And building a business is hard. And it's just I don't really believe in balance per se, but it's finding something that like makes your soul happy. Right. It's making those negotiations. Like, I don't know if you negotiate with your kids. I call it bribing, but you know, we negotiate. Thursday nights, we have pizza and we watch a movie. Okay. So we did that, right? You know, if there's something going on, I'm like, mommy's got X, Y, and Z to do. If you do this, mommy will go to Panera and bring me Panera home if you just let me do this. So we're in a constant state of negotiating now that my kids are old enough to understand. So
well, and a lot of times too, and some tips if anybody is working from home and does need a little bit of an idea. Something that I have on my my door to my office is a little whiteboard, and I just have, you know, different times that I will be working. Right. My daughter's iPad for school. My son doesn't have an Apple device, so he can't see it. So that's, you know, where that comes in. But having our family schedule on the calendar so the kids can see when I'm in appointments. Do they always look? No. Sometimes they barge in, right? Like today when we were talking and you're like, number 5, number 6, number 7. So that's mom life, right?
Yeah, but you know what? Your kids didn't bother you at all today.
I know. I don't know what they were doing all day long. I think they
were kids 7 times. It's fine.
It was I told them today, I said, it was so nice of you to not bother me today. Thank you so much for that.
I got off and was like, why did you bother me so much today? What is wrong with you? Did you see I was doing something?
That's too funny. And so let's go ahead and chat a little bit about our book. So obviously we know we divine intervention, right? How we're like led to each other. And now we have a book together, which is so exciting.
Mine's upside down. Now it's on the wrong side of the screen. It's fine, guys. Like, you know what? If nothing else, I hope someone watches this and was like, I could never do what Rhiannon does, but oh, look, Amber's a mess. Look, I can be successful here. You could be.
You can write a book and be backwards. It's okay. There you go.
There it is.
Oh my gosh. So, I was surprised, honestly, when we got our books, how big they were.
They're really, right? Like,
it was like, whoa, there's a lot of good stuff in here.
There is. So
I think this book compilation is one of my favorites. And it's not just because I'm an author.
It's because I'm in it. I know, right? I'm so excited for you.
But I love the different takes on things and hearing people's ideas and just the affirming of, yeah, like I do that already, or, ooh, I could do that a little bit better. Or, you know, being a dinosaur in this industry, I'm still learning things, right? I need to get like the dinosaur costume and wear it.
Do it. I have one.
Heather wore one for, what was that? Was it Halloween? She did it at work. She had to wear it. I was like, that is hilarious. But being able to just go through this book and learn from other people, because we're all in different companies. Like, we're all in different businesses, but the principles are still the same. Yeah. They're still the same. And it doesn't matter if you're a brand new person that comes in today, you could take this book and slowly, not all the things, but implement like one chapter at a time.
Yeah.
and use it as a resource.
Yeah. And everyone is so different, right? Like there's men, there's women, but here's what they're not different. The book is literally called Network Marketing Secrets from Top Earners. Like these are people making 6 and 7 figures. These are not like brand new humans. These are people who are dinosaurs, much like us, who've been in it. I mean, I've learned a lot over the last 12 years. I've learned, guys, I've sent my share of Hey Girl, Hey messages, right? I have said I had VIP spots. Actually, I never really said that because it felt icky, but I considered it, okay? Like, I've said the things. I've spammed the people. I've done attraction marketing to the point where no one knew I was even in the business because I hadn't figured that part out yet either, right? So, like, this book compilation is a whole lot of people failing their way to the top and telling you how not to fail. It said, I was flipping it. It says discover. I thought it said dinosaur. I was like, oh my God, he called us dinosaurs in the book. So, and I just want to say, like, I mean, I can tell you what this says, but when I sat down, so I put this off. Anyone who knows me, and if you don't, I'm a total procrastinator. Like I was the last person to turn in my chapter after numerous messages. And then I was so bad at has anyone ever had to write like an intro to yourself?
Oh, that part was awful.
It was awkward, right? It was the worst. And I put in this random stuff and I was like, could you guys tell me what you put? And everyone else's was way cooler than mine. And so I changed mine after they had already sent it to layout. And the girl was like, we already sent it to layout. They cannot fix it. So I do want to tell you they did fix it and it does sound cooler now.
Mine was not. It was not fixed.
Well, listen, I'll tell you what mine says. Then I'll tell you a little bit about my chapter because then I want Rhiannon to. There we go. That way I point the opposite way. Rhiannon can tell you about her chapter. So mine says I'm one of 3 people to hold my current rank in my company. My team sells more than 10 million annually. I've been making multiple 6 figures since 2013. I'm a volunteer firefighter wife, homeschooling mom of 3, an adoptive mom, and I have a goal every summer to sleep in my RV more than I do in my home. And I would tell you my kids set that goal because like Rhiannon was talking about with her kids, like we set goals as a family with my kids so that they know that when I have to work, I don't have to hear crap, right? Because remember that goal we set, all right?
Yep.
And then it says when she isn't leading a team of thousands, you can find her on a couch with one or both of her mini schnauzers and a book because I am a dog mom and I like them more than I like my kids a lot of the times, okay? So the quote that wrapped up my book was you can't give away millions unless you make millions. And I think that goes back to that money mindset we talked about a little bit, right? Where you gotta be you have to break that barrier of making more money and not being judged for it. And so my chapter is literally, it's so simple. So when I sat down to write my chapter, I was like, I don't know what to tell these people. Anyone deal with imposter syndrome? Just me? I thought so, right? Like, how did I get here? How could I teach these people to do anything that I've done? And so I literally dug into the most basic thing that is me, and that is being a human. Like, it's not about planning out the best content and whatever else. It's about being you and inspiring a movement of people to be authentically you. It's not about sending messages. It's about finding people who like the same things that you do and forging those friendships. And so that was the biggest thing that I dug into was that. And so just to be totally cheesy, I want to read a part because I thought it was really important.
No,
okay. So I talked about how we're like 13 months from getting to our dream of living in North Carolina, and it's huge. So I said, as I sit here writing this chapter for the book, being a published author has always been a dream of mine. And so I dig into that a little bit, and it sounds like I'm really, really gloating at this point because we talked to our financial planner and we're finally in a really good place. And I said, I'm telling you this for a reason, and it isn't to gloat. It's because I used to have to charge my groceries and pray my credit card wouldn't decline. And now I have a freaking financial planner. And listen to me, you may be reading this right now and thinking, well, woo freaking who, Amber, that stuff doesn't happen to people like me. You're in luck. That kind of stuff didn't happen to people like me either. go all in. Success is for you. And it does happen to people like you who read the things, implement the things, make all the friends, and put in the dang work. Before you know it, you'll have the Rob Sperry in your inbox asking you to write a chapter in his upcoming book too. And I think that sums up my entire feeling. Stuff like this, the life that I lead right now, didn't happen to people like me either. It doesn't happen in my family. You know, I tell my husband, I'm like, we're new money. It's the weirdest thing. Like, we don't even know what to do with our money because we're new money. Mm-hmm. And it does happen for people like you. It happens for people like me. It happens to people like you. Success is for you. The minute you decide that you're just not going to put up with all the crap, right? You're not going to put up with the 9 to 5 that you don't like. You're not going to put up with the leaving your kid too soon and selling your stuff to keep your electric on. And so for me, I did give my blueprint, which is be a human and what that means and what that looks like. But I just, above everything else, if you can't decide that success is for you, it will never truly be for you. And so I hope that you guys hook up. It's on this side. It's on this side. If you hook up and you're friends with Rhiannon, you get the link to get her book. If you're my friend, drop me the message. But guys, the amount of the money you're going to spend in this one is a tax write-off. Okay. Which is something I've learned about my whole life, is it's a tax write-off. But the other thing is do you see? Nope. It's this way. All of these names, this is a ton of people. This is millions of dollars earned on the front of this. And they're teaching you their secrets. You can't afford not to get the book, is what I'm saying.
Absolutely. So love it. I love it. I love it. And I'm going to circle back with my chapter, because I was writing that stuff and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not great at edifying myself. I could edify anybody else all day long, but I'm oh, so awkward. I don't want this to, and I tell my team this all the time. I'm like, I don't want to sound egotistical. I literally tell them that first, because I'm like, please understand, I'm not trying to sound like an idiot.
But you know that people who are egotistical don't even think about.
They don't say that. I know.
Right? So the fact that we're even thinking about it is proof. I'm just saying, but just had to point that out.
Yes. Teresa, hey friend, I will get you the link as soon as we get off of here. So I just said on mine, international speaker and leader, 2-time published author, blog and podcast contributor, founder of 90 Day Sprint, earned trips in cars, a homeschool mom, former middle and high school science teacher, and $500,000 industry earner. So nothing crazy exciting. When I'm not working, I can be found at Disney or at the beach, but that didn't end up in there. So my quote that I added was, you can do everything wrong with the right attitude and succeed, or you can do everything right with the wrong attitude and fail. And it comes back to just what you said, mindset. The other day I was talking to somebody, I said, this business is 90% mental and 10% skill.
Yep. You
can learn the skills, but if you can't believe it in your brain, you will never achieve the level of success you're looking for, period. So my chapter really talks a lot about how to, and which is very fitting with our chapter, even though it wasn't a pandemic at the time, how to mom and work your business in the middle of chaos, basically. So that's really what I talk about. And, you were talking about how you were doing parties all the time. So when we were in that same company, I would go do a vendor event and I would get a gajillion leads. And then I would spend a power hour every single day calling those people, booking appointments, and I would do around each day of the weekend. So between 4 to 6 Saturdays and Sundays. And then if there was one night a week, I could do that as well, depending on Jeff's work schedule. So I worked 7 days a week with a chronically sick child, working up all night, holding her so she could sleep, messaging people at 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning. So then that way I could build my business when I could. I remember I was so crunched for time that I would sit there and I would be at a stoplight and I would pick up my phone and message people. And then my light would turn green and I'd put it down and I'd drive. And then I would pick up my phone and I would message somebody else again. You have to find those little nuggets of time. And while right now you may be pandemic parenting and feeling like you're losing your shit all the time, because let's just face it, you're probably going to.
I know you are not on TikTok. I don't know why you're not, but I just did one today. I literally did a TikTok today that said, if you're the kind of mom that says you're going to lose your shit 3 to 5 times a day, you're my people. And it's
Yes.
So anyway, go ahead, because I have said it. Like my poor realtor the other day, I was like talking all serious, and then I was like, hold on, I am trying to put these kids to bed, and I'm going to sell every last one of them. And she was like, oh, okay. So go ahead. Go ahead. And pandemicking or not, parenting.
Yes.
It's not for the weak.
And just because I heard somebody on Clubhouse say recently, she's a professional dancer and she got pregnant and never wanted kids. And she, like, obviously with the pandemic, she couldn't be dancing, right? Because everything was closed and any sort of activity like that. And I told her, first off, please don't ever stop telling people you didn't want to be a mom. Because I felt like that was so powerful. And just now I'm getting goosebumps because I didn't want to be a mom. Like, there's some people out there that they grow up and dream to be a mom, and that's what they want to do, and that's how they want to live their life. That's great. That's not me. That's not me at all. I wanted to go and hustle. I wanted to travel. I wanted to work. So there's something for everyone in this industry, no matter what season of life that you're in the midst of pandemic parenting, in the midst of the pandemic period. Maybe you just want a job change. There's a lot of people right now who are just tired.
Yeah.
They're just tired of the same old. They're tired of a dead-end job. They're tired of all the things. You got one coming in?
It's the same one. The same one that you saw all day today, but didn't see. It's the same one. So, you know, it's 8. That's 8. She's got a sign that says "Mom, I need your help with my clothes." She wrote me a sign, guys. She wrote me a sign. I will be up in a second.
Here's your sign. I can't.
You know what? I always wanted kids, and some days
you're like,
I'm like, what was I thinking? Look, someone's on here is gonna be like, they're offended, but listen, it's hard, and you know, I think it's cool because what you just said is so important. I told you that last week I was sitting with 2 friends who sit at the same rank as I do, which is our teams do over 10 million a year, and I was talking to them, and I've got one of them is she's engaged with no kids. And then the other one is 1 kid, and her husband owns restaurants, and her kid's older. And then I've got 3 kids, and I homeschool, and she could never imagine homeschooling, right? And the other one's like, I just am not even trying to have babies right now. I'm just trying to get married. And so shut the door. And so the point is, like, we're literally sitting on this same structure of team, right? And we all have very different goals, but we can all crush it, and we all live. One is very intentional. I am not, as you can tell, intentional at all. It's always a mess. But like, I think that's the cool thing, is that this industry isn't for everyone, but everyone could see success here. And I think that that's kind of the coolest part of this whole thing. So, and I think that becomes true in the book too, as you're reading through a lot of these stories. Again, we all think we have a special story, but really there's a lot of the same. So
yeah, absolutely. Well, get back to either Amber if you're tuning in and you know Amber, or myself for the link to get your copy of Network Marketing Secrets from Top Earners. And I'm sure Amber will sign hers because she's awesome. I know I've had lots of requests.
It's actually on my Google form, whether or not you want it. I'm actually offended when people don't want it autographed.
I shipped one to the UK and one to Australia, and I like ate the cost because they wanted it like signed, and I was like, whatever, here you go. I love you. Thank you. Appreciate your support. Just go share it with friends. Like,
just share it.
Just share it with friends, which is what we do anyway. So at any rate, my friend, I appreciate your time and your chat with just momming and doing all the things. And you can write a book in the middle of a pandemic and still have a business. So all right, we'll see you guys soon. Thanks so much for tuning in. Bye.
Bye, guys.